To take control of his newly matured daughter, the father decided to lock her away and keep her for himself. His first step was to send away his aging wife, then deliberately trick his daughter into helping him move some things. Unexpectedly, his rebellious daughter actually agreed. After Sarah helped her father move the items into the basement, she suddenly discovered a hidden door behind a bookshelf that she had never known existed. Although a sense of unease rose in her heart, she trusted her father and helped move the cabinet inside without thinking too much. Little did she know that her trust in Tom would lead her into a nightmare with no escape. Sure enough, before Sarah could react, Tom walked out and locked the steel door.
Dad!
Only then did Sarah realize something was wrong. She desperately screamed for her father, but the room was completely soundproof, and no matter how loudly she shouted, no one outside could hear her. When she saw that the cabinets they had just moved in contained all of her belongings, she finally realized everything had been planned by her father. To escape, Sarah rushed to the steel door and tried opening it with the password, but Tom gave her no chance. After she entered the wrong code 3 times, he completely cut off the power to the room. The sudden darkness terrified Sarah. She quickly took out a flashlight and, after finding a ventilation pipe in the wall, shouted into it with all her strength, hoping nearby neighbors would hear her. But the next moment, Tom brought out a blanket and blocked the ventilation pipe. No matter how loudly Sarah screamed, no sound could reach the outside. Sarah's sudden disappearance left her mother extremely worried. Fearing her daughter was in danger, she called the police. However, after investigating all of Sarah's friends, the police learned that no one had seen her. Tom then shamelessly told the police that Sarah had recently been thinking about running away from home. After learning that Sarah had taken her belongings, Mark immediately understood. He had handled similar missing person cases before, where children often returned after running out of money. He told Sarah's mother to wait at home, believing Sarah would likely come back soon. Tom easily sent the police away and hurried back to the basement. Hearing footsteps outside, Sarah quickly hid in the corner. When Tom opened the door, she rushed forward and knocked him down. She thought she could finally escape, but she never expected another password lock to be waiting. Tom slowly walked over, dragged her back, and threw her to the ground. After closing the steel door, Tom stopped hiding the truth. He told Sarah to stay obedient or he would stop giving her food until she starved. Sarah was completely hopeless. From that moment on, Tom was no longer her father. During the day, he pretended to be a worried father searching for Sarah's safety. At night, he became a monster and secretly returned to the basement behind his family's back. Before long, Sarah had been imprisoned by Tom for 21 days. It was also her 18th birthday, but looking at the birthday cake Tom prepared, she felt no happiness at all. After blowing out the candles in fear, Tom gave her a red dress and said he would grant her a wish if she wore it. After changing, Sarah said she wanted a clock because she wanted to feel the outside world again. After Tom agreed, he ordered her to come closer. To get the clock, Sarah had no choice but to obey. After 38 days of captivity, Sarah finally couldn't endure the endless darkness anymore. While eating canned food one day, she noticed the sharp lid could be used as a weapon, so she made one herself. When Tom returned, she hid it behind her back and prepared to attack, but Tom reacted quickly, took the weapon away, and threw Sarah against the wall. Sarah was then subjected to another brutal ordeal. Before long, a year had passed since her imprisonment. The once empty basement was now filled with belongings, and Sarah had changed from a young girl into a pregnant woman waiting to give birth. One day, while calmly cleaning, Sarah's water suddenly broke. With Tom gone, she had no choice but to find books and learn about childbirth herself. In the end, Sarah gave birth alone without any medical equipment, delivering her first child with Tom. But the daughter they had was not healthy. She was born with severe asthma and needed daily medication to control it, yet Tom didn't care at all. In the blink of an eye, Sarah had been imprisoned for 4 years, while her mother spent every day crying over her daughter's disappearance. Meanwhile, Sarah became pregnant for the second time in the basement. Although she gave birth to a boy this time, he was still very weak and often suffered from colds and fevers. By the 7th year of Sarah's captivity, she had given birth to a 3rd child in the basement, but the tiny space could no longer hold all 4 of them. Thinking about her children's future, Sarah hoped Tom would take the child outside to live. After careful consideration, Tom agreed, because it would not only reduce his wife's suspicions, but also make the family stop searching for Sarah. Early the next morning, a baby's cry was heard outside the house. When Sarah's mother opened the door, she found a note from Sarah inside the crib. Sarah explained that she was struggling financially and hoped her mother could help care for the newborn. Her mother was overjoyed overwhelmed with emotion and failed to notice the small note hidden underneath the crib. When Tom saw the note, he became furious. That night, he stormed into the basement and threw the red dress at Sarah. What happened next was predictable. 14 years into Sarah's imprisonment, her eldest daughter had grown into a beautiful young woman, and Sarah was fortunately pregnant with her fourth child. But when Tom saw his eldest daughter, his eyes were filled with greed. Luckily, Sarah sensed something was wrong and quickly pulled her daughter aside because she knew Tom was capable of anything. However, because of this, Tom deliberately cut off the power before leaving as punishment. As time passed, the rainy season arrived. A heavy storm lasted for 3 days and nights, and Sarah suddenly noticed rainwater slowly leaking into the basement. Realizing this was a chance to escape, she immediately moved the cabinet over and began digging through the soil with a spoon. Because the ceiling had been soaked by the rain, Sarah quickly dug a hole through it. Excited, she grabbed a flashlight and tried to call for help from outside. At that moment, a neighbor happened to notice something unusual in Tom's yard, but unexpectedly, the neighbor went straight to tell Tom. Because of this, Sarah suffered the harshest beating she had ever endured. Even worse, she lost the baby she was carrying. Yet when Tom saw the motionless child, his expression showed no emotion. Without hesitation, he picked up the baby and coldly buried it under a tree. This was the 18th year of Sarah's imprisonment, but Tom suddenly faced a financial crisis and was about to lose his job. Without income, he could no longer support the 3 people in the basement. To reduce his burden, Tom came up with a terrifying idea. Late at night, he connected a pipe to the basement's ventilation system and linked the other end to the car's exhaust pipe. Tom planned to use the fumes to kill the 3 people inside. He thought he would finally be free of worries, but his youngest son suddenly walked into the garage, forcing him to give up the plan. By the 20th year of Sarah's captivity, her eldest daughter's asthma had become much worse, and medicine could no longer control it. Sarah had no choice but to kneel before Tom and beg him to take her daughter to the hospital. But Tom was afraid Sarah would seek help once she got outside.
Dad! Please, just...
After Sarah said something that changed his mind, Tom finally agreed. After years trapped underground, Sarah finally breathed fresh air again, but she had no time to enjoy it. Her only concern was getting her daughter to the hospital. Luckily, thanks to timely treatment, her daughter only fell into a short coma and was otherwise fine. However, the hospital couldn't find any identity information for the girl and asked Tom to provide it. Standing in front of the doctor, Sarah struggled to ask for help. It wasn't until she saw a police officer nearby that she made her decision. While Tom wasn't paying attention, she deliberately knocked over a cup of water onto the documents, forcing him to return to the desk for new paperwork. As Tom walked away, Sarah immediately stood up and headed toward the police officer. Even when Tom noticed and called her name from behind, she kept moving forward.
I need help.
Realizing something was wrong, Tom pretended to be a passerby and tried to leave, but the police quickly caught up with him. In the end, Tom was arrested and would spend the rest of his life paying for his crimes. Watching the children being carried out of the basement one by one, their mother could hardly believe her eyes. She never imagined so many people had been living underground. After everything returned to normal, the children happily played soccer in the yard, while Sarah quietly sat on a bench enjoying her freedom. Suddenly, the sound of a motorcycle came from outside. The person who arrived was Sarah's first love, who had waited for her for 20 years and never married. After 2 decades apart, the two reunited and returned to the happiness they once shared, living a beautiful life together. The film then came to an end.